We are going extremely old school in this episode of the Gear Guide. For those of you that watched SHOT Show 2013 coverage, you saw this little beast at the G&G booth, and it was just still kind of getting out there in the world. Not a lot of details, and the magazine area was all wrapped up with top secret tape. Well, flash forward almost a year, and it is here, and I am beyond excited to check out G&G's M1 Garand. All right, so this is one of these guns that really doesn't need introductions. It's been around forever. It is absolutely iconic. And I'm gonna tell you what, G&G has done an amazing job capturing the details of this rifle, all the way down to all the little tiny bits. So let's start with the externals. So the first thing you notice on this is it's made of pretty much two materials externally, metal and real wood. Yep, that's right. No plastic here, no polymer, none of that printed garbage. This is solid wood, tip to toe. The stock, the body, everything, the finish is smooth. It's got this satin kind of coating on it, so it really looks nice. I'm gonna tell you what too, this thing would look even better, a little weathered out too, but you can do that because it is real wood, that you can pretty much sand this and rough it up and restain it to your heart's content. So I know you collectors out there and you modders out there are going to get your hands on this and give it that battle-worn look. But for those of us who just don't have the heart to take this thing out to a skirmish, and this is gonna earn a place on the wall of trophy guns, I love the way they present a beautiful finish. So starting at the top and working our way back, of course you do have the orange tip, which is required in the United States. Moving on down, you do have the bayonet connector here, and of course the front sight, which is adjustable for windage left to right, has a little dovetail notch in here, and uses an Allen key in the back. Now I know you guys are gonna probably get a little critical about use of an Allen key on it because it really isn't historically correct, but I do like the fact that it stays true to airsoft guns, and you can actually get in there and make a quick adjustment using your tools for those of you that are going to skirmish with this. And you've got the garrison hooks, so you can stack these rifles up into threes and little tripods when you guys are hanging around and not actually using them. And then moving on down this beautiful piece of wood where you can see the barrel exposed on the bottom, you have the front sling attachment point. So the thing is made of metal, it's made of steel, so you're going to be able to put your slings on here and use these as functional sling attachment points. So moving on down from the front sling point, you actually have the body of the stock. This is really thick wood. It's extremely solid, but the top pieces here are a little thinner, and this one does have a little bit of play in it. I noticed, just at least in the version I have, no big deal. You can easily shin this up, no problem, but just want to kind of give you guys a heads up that that was there. Then moving on to this part, which I love, you do get that satisfying functional bolt. You pull it back, it slams forward, it works, and it's awesome. Now, it doesn't lock back into place, which is no big deal at all, but you can hold it back, and of course, you can access the hop adjustment right up under here. Moving on to the back, you have the rear adjustable sight with a single aperture, and that is all you're gonna get with this. This is a classic rifle, so don't expect a bunch of rail space or optics. If you guys are looking for that, G&G makes a pretty darn good M14, which is, we all know, the upgrade kind of to the M1, so go ahead and grab that guy. If you want classic, you're gonna want the iron sights, and these do work very well in getting target acquisition. Rounding out the top, they do have some etchings, obviously no licensing here, but they did stay true with the design and typeface, so at first glance or passing glance, it's going to look like a real one. And you know what, to be honest, I'm not really concerned about the licensing. In this case, it's such a beautiful gun. Having that isn't a deal breaker at all. And moving on down, of course, you've got the rest of the stock. It is solid wood all the way through. Like I talked about before, this thing is a monster, and I love it. It's comfortable, it's smooth, everything's sanded perfectly. There are no sharp edges that are gonna bite your hands, and you can forget about even thinking about getting a splinter. They've done a fantastic job finishing this wood to no end. Trigger safety, its back is in the safe. Push it forward, it is back in the fire position. So it's gonna be comfortable and familiar for those of you who use M14s or enjoy the M1 platform. And finishing out to the back of this rifle, you do have the metal cap here on the end of the buttstock and the rear sling attachment point, which is fixed in through the wood stock. And of course, here in the back, you do have the door to access the battery compartment. It's actually big enough to fit a large Type 9.6 battery, so you're not gonna have any trouble putting any kind of battery in here. In fact, you'll find out in our test later, I was using an 11.1 LiPo to run this thing without any issue. So moving on to the internals and the functionality of the gun, of course, let's hit the magazine. Even though this is kind of externals, I did want to bring this to the internal section. The magazine releases here over on the left-hand side, a little button, you press it, and the magazine comes right out. It includes a mid cap. This is a 20-round mid cap, so this is all you're going to get. And for those of you that are going to ask, this is not compatible with other competing brand M1s out there. So this magazine is unique to the G&G one, so you'll need to pick those up. The bottom of the mag itself has a metal plate on it, and there's a metal locking mechanism to keep it in place. And of course, it loads like any standard mid cap. In fact, I had no problems at all with this thing feeding and getting all those shots downrange. And for those of you used to fast mag changes, you're not gonna really get that. You're gonna wanna practice with this a little bit. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the magazine like this. It kind of goes in, but it goes kind of in and forward a little bit when you set it, and that way it locks into place. So it doesn't just snap right in. You're not gonna get the super duper fast mag changes, but with a little bit of practice, you're gonna be changing mags really quickly and be able to get back on target. So also internally on this gun, you're using the M14 mech box. So it's gonna be very familiar, and there's plenty of upgrade parts out there in the market that support that mech box, so you're not having to worry about something new and unique. That's a great news for those of you that want to upgrade this to a sniper rifle, especially considering it is semi-only. So considering the box said high velocity, we weren't surprised when we took it out to the chrono and saw right under 400 FPS. In fact, saw somewhere in the neighborhood of 392, 393, and the lowest was 390. In fact, we were really impressed with the small variation of FPS on this gun. There's only 2 or 3 FPS between our lowest and highest readings, so they've done a really good job sealing up these internals and making this a very solid rifle from an air seal standpoint. And of course, on rate of fire, we weren't able to do that test because this is a semi-only rifle, so it's just as fast as that finger pulls, which is also good news for those of you who have fields that have DMR and electric sniper rules. Since this thing is not full auto capable out of the box as it stands, you can probably use this as an old school sniper rifle, and it's begging for an upgrade. If you guys want to do that, you can push those limits up a little more to reach out a little farther. It's definitely the perfect weapon to turn into that old school sniper platform. So bottom line, if you're a reenactor, if you love the classics, or you just want something that's totally different that will definitely give you that challenge because of that 20-round magazine, take a look at G&G's M1 Garand. It's been long awaited, and I'm gonna tell you what, it's been worth every second of the wait. You can pick these up anywhere G&G products are sold for somewhere in the mid 400s once it finally drops here in the States. So all right, everybody, I know I get a lot of comments down there in the section below, and you guys are like, ooh, an M4, ooh, another this. Well, hey, there's no ooh, an M4 here. It's an M1. This is definitely not your standard airsoft gun, and there's a lot of challenge in using this because of the limitations. No optics, it means iron sights only, that's it. You have a 20-round magazine, and the mag loads are a little slow, so it kind of replicates that old school feel. So, that said, would you run one of these in a game? Do you think you'd tune it up and sit back and play that old school sniper role? Or would you kind of do the frontline charge, fixed bayonets, and go right in and take them out? I want to know what you guys would do if you got a chance to run the M1 Garand in an event down there in the comments below. So guys, that's it for this episode of the Gear Guide. I'll see you back in the next one where I'm part of a tank crew. We're behind enemy lines, we're surrounded, but I still tell you, it's the best job ever.